So welcome back to Supersonic Sax. I hope everybody had a nice holiday. For the first video of the year, we're going to do something a little bit different. All of the content on this channel so far has been very specific to the saxophone. But today we're going to look at something that is more about general musicianship. But the topic we're going to cover today is one of the most important, if not the most important things you need to practice to become a better saxophonist. On the internet, one of the saxophone-related comments that you're most likely to find is, "Do you have the music for this song?" Chances are, whatever the song is, there is no sheet music for it. Maybe even especially not for the saxophone, because the music would then have to be transposed into B flat or E flat. But you actually have something already that is much better than the music, and that is your ears, which are a lot more powerful than you might think. So how do you get to the point where you can learn any melody just by listening to it? The very first step would be to memorize the 12 intervals of the chromatic scale. This is not something you need perfect pitch for, it's something that anybody can learn, and it just takes a little practice. So we have the chromatic scale, which has 12 notes. And on the 13th note, it repeats at the octave. Now I'm going to play all 12 of these intervals, both ascending and descending, and then together in unison so you can hear the harmony. The first interval and the smallest distance between any two notes is the minor second. You might know this from music like the theme from Jaws or the Pink Panther. Next we have the major second. The major second you may recognize from the Happy Birthday song, and also if you know the piano tune Chopsticks, the very first chord is a major second. Moving on to the minor third. That we have the Lullaby song, or maybe even the Iron Man theme song. After that we have the major third. Followed by a perfect fourth. And then a tritone, which is exactly halfway between the octave. Now that sounds very dissonant, and that's a very important sound in lots of modern music, especially jazz. Then we have the perfect fifth. This is also a very common sound, and it is the basis of power chords in rock music. After that, we have the minor sixth. Then the major sixth. Minor seventh. Major seventh. And finally, the cycle completes with the octave. So again, we have minor second, major second, minor third, major third, perfect fourth, tritone, perfect fifth, minor sixth, major sixth, minor seventh, major seventh, octave. If you memorize what those intervals sound like, both ascending and descending, You'll be able to learn any melody just by listening to it. And this is a skill that anybody can learn. I don't have perfect pitch, but I feel confident that I could listen to any melody and learn it within a matter of minutes. And this even goes for more complicated things such as bebop solos. As your ear gets better at recognizing the intervals, you're able to pick them out even though they pass by very quickly. So how do we start practicing this? For the first few of those, I gave examples of common songs that you might find them in. And if you Google 12 intervals pop songs, you'll find a list of various contexts where you might find these. This is actually a very effective way of beginning ear training because even somebody who thinks they might not have that good of an ear can usually correctly identify the interval in a song when they sing it. Another great way to practice this if you have a piano or guitar or other polytonal instrument is to just hold down a note and then try and sing various intervals in reference to that one. If you just have your saxophone, you can do the exact same thing, and this is basically the tone imagination exercise we talked about when discussing Sigurd Rascher's top tones for the saxophone. Take any note and hold it out, and while you're playing it, try to imagine an interval in reference to that note. For example, if you're going to play an A on alto saxophone, which is a concert C, as you're holding that note, try hearing the D above that. So you're playing A on the alto saxophone and then trying to hear the D while you're playing that. It can be quite a tricky exercise at first, but it's excellent for developing your ear. And you can find more information on that in the video on that topic. Another great way to work on this if you're away from an instrument is to try and find drones or humming sounds in your environment. Match the pitch and then sing intervals in relation to that. Now it doesn't matter what the pitch actually is, whatever the humming sound is, you're just going to find that note, sing it, and then sing intervals in relation to that. And personally, I found that to be a really helpful way to train my ear to hear these 12 intervals. Now earlier I said that this is one of the most important, if not the most important skill you have to develop as a saxophonist. And I'm not necessarily talking about playing songs by ear. With a saxophone, or any other wind instrument for that matter, you can't simply press the keys and blow and then expect to get the sound you want and the pitch you want. As wind instrumentalists, we have to have a very developed ear and a sense of what sound we want to come out of the instrument first. Now it is true that within the so-called normal range of the saxophone, if you select a certain fingering and blow, chances are you're going to get something close to that note. Although your results may vary depending on your experience with the instrument, there's a chance you might not get the sound or the pitch that you're looking for. However, this skill is even more important when you move beyond top F into the Altissimo register. Let's say you want to play a G in the staff and then Altissimo G, one octave above the staff. Without a strong sense of pitch and tone imagination to have an idea of what that 2-octave jump is going to sound like, it's very unlikely that you're going to be successful just by blowing. And this is the reason why less experienced players have a hard time with these notes initially. The fingerings don't seem to work because they haven't yet developed all the necessary factors to play them properly. So if you don't do this already, start learning how to hear the 12 intervals, and I promise that very soon you'll be able to learn any melody by ear very quickly, and it will also have a very positive effect on your saxophone playing overall.